Is good, everyone? Welcome back to My Team career mode on F1 22. Today we have the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix in Jeddah. If you have not seen the first episode of My Team career mode, there will be a link down in the description below for the playlist that I have set up for it so far. You'll be able to go watch the first episode down there. You'll be able to see the livery, which obviously you can see on the screen now, and what else happens in that race. Is quite an entertaining race, to be fair. But yeah, while you're down there, don't mind hitting the like button and subscribe button with the notification bells turned on. That would be greatly appreciated. Really would help out the channel. But yeah, we're just going to look forward now. Look towards getting some activities done. We have a choice between reaction training, driver promotion filming, aero team building, and a sponsor event fundraiser to give us some more acclaim. But I think going with the reaction training is probably the smartest decision here. I want to get Oscar Piastri as leveled up as possible, so then hopefully later on this season there's chances that he can actually get some points or at least challenge for them. Next we're going to go into R&D. We have 1,200, just over 1,200 resource points. We unfortunately have 3 going on at the moment between chassis, powertrain and durability, so we can only go and get an update in aero. So we look at the beam wing, but actually we're going to go for the over wing winglets and going to get those upgraded hopefully. Let's advance time here to go through to reaction training and the gearbox hopefully, and the gearbox will come through thankfully after it. If you haven't seen it already, it did fail last episode, but now that has got out of the way, the durability one, we can go back into R&D. And we can go to a durability here, and it's unlocks a couple new areas for us to improve. The turbo and the ICE. So I'll have a look here and see what they both are, what they do. Turbo durability increase and the ICE durability increase. I think the ICE is probably a much bigger component of the engine that's most likely to fail, so I want to get that as durable as possible. So we go with that instead. Going to go over and have a look at driver perks, and we are going to give ourselves a resource point boost just so that we can get a couple more resources in to try and get us more upgrades over the next few weeks, so we can really get this car up and running. But now let's head over onto the Pirelli hot lap, and we're going to choose average speed zone. So, as you can see here, we're in the McLaren 720S around Jeddah, and we're going to average speed zone. We're going to try and get up to 100 miles an hour, so we're going to have a look here, see how we can do. Hitting up to 4th and now 5th gear, and then just becoming into long left-hander, going down into 2nd gear. You can hear the tyres scorching underneath the car. It actually handles quite well. I actually was quite impressed with how well the car handled. As you go around the right-hander here, the grip is nowhere near the same as in a Formula 1 car. We smashed into the wall, smashed the car to pieces. As we cross the line, we do go 99.77 miles per hour. So we've already achieved gold. So we got a couple more goals that we had to go at. This is the final one, where we had a better run out of the final corner and through to the finish line here. We reached 101 miles an hour, which is actually quite good. I'm quite happy with that. So yeah, we got gold. We got 1,000 acclaim and $100,000 to go towards the car and the budget, so that's quite good. I was quite happy with that. And now let's move on to first practice, where we are going to go out, and this is one of the first few laps I have with the car, this car specifically. This is probably the first lap with this car specifically, as you can see, on medium tyres, even through this pit lane, already losing the back end on the exit of the corner. And as we're going through the first section here, just trying to get the car tyres warmed up and already losing the back end. This track is, you need a lot of downforce for this track, but you also need top speeds. And as we're heading on to the first lap of this ERS management mode, we're well into the purple, but as we get on the exit of the long left-hander, we spin the car and do a full 180, thankfully not hitting the wall. do tap the back of the wall there, but thankfully no damage on the car. So this lap's got good as gone, but we can still carry on and hopefully next lap manage to not spin at that corner. And as we get to the corner again on the very next lap, are we going to spin it? No, we managed to actually go out of the corner quite nicely. And I can just focus on the rest of the lap now. Just going through the fast right left-hander here. Really got to hit that first apex. We don't. We missed the first apex. We actually do manage to get the second apex quite well. Even though we're on the curb, we could have very much sent the car off to the right into the wall and gained some damage. As we're going into the fast left-hander here, don't quite hit the entry point right, and as we hit the curb, the car spins around and we hit into the wall and gain some wing damage. So, unfortunately, had to go back in the pit to get some repair, going out again for the first lap. As we go into the fast right left-hander, spinning around, I think that was Perez there. How he didn't hit me, I will never know. That must have been oh so close. He didn't give a damn, to be honest. And as we're trying to get away, we spin out again. Didn't have damage on the first spin, but we made sure of it in the second spin. Anyway, restarting that, and as we get at the third time of asking, we do get purple and actually do a proper lap there. Heading into second practice now, going to do a race strategy with the soft tyres to try and get a better understanding of how this car can handle in a soft tyre environment rather than a medium or hards. As we're going around the exit of sector 1, lose the back end on the curb, get onto this curb on exit, and the car just spins around. Unfortunately, that wasn't a great start to the warm-up lap, but thankfully, when we do the actual lap, we did actually hit green, so I was very thankful. As we're going through into the first sector now, and on the exit of turn 2 into turn 3, we lose the back end in 5th gear, and gain some damage on the front wing. But as we're on the soft, so we don't really have too many tyres to go through, we want to just like keep going through the lap. Unfortunately, obviously, this lap is as good as gone. Going through the big right, and we get more damage on our front wing. So just a double compound on that lap. Coming onto lap 3 now, we're going through the long right left-hander. As we're going exit, we think we're able to get through, but because of no wing, it just sends us wide and we lose the whole front wing. If you only have part of it, why have the whole of it, eh? Anyway, onto the end of the lap. Thankfully, didn't actually lose too much time. Bashed the wall and exit on the last corner, but it's okay. We're still half a second up on the time that they want us to do. So we got green on that third lap there. As we come to the end of the 4th lap, we also are 1.3 seconds up. Even with a broken wing, we're still 1.3 seconds up on the practice program. So we might need to up the difficulty of these practice programs, as we still managed to gain purple for that practice program there. So yeah, definitely might need to think about upping the difficulty of the AI to improve that practice program difficulty. As you can see, first lap here for the tyre management, purple straight away.
All the cars now over the line. Let's see our top 3 again. Leclerc, Verstappen and Carlos Sainz. Sadly, it's time to say goodbye as free practice is over. However, we'll be back shortly for more Formula 1 action.
So we got purple in all our practice programs, actually finishing in 6th place, whereas Oscar was down in 20th. So at this point, I'm thinking I'm probably going to need to up the difficulty for this race. I don't want to up it too much because obviously if I spin, then I don't want it to be so difficult that I can't get back. So I was thinking 80 initially, but then after some thinking, I brought it back down to 76, and that's where we're going to go from. Heading on to the outlap for the first qualifying session here. We're coming to the end of the outlap, going to get a nice exit onto the main start-finish straight. We actually do get quite a nice exit in 5th gear, going down past the start-finish line to start our lap, hitting 200, 202, 203, almost 204 miles an hour before we brake and go down to 4th to get through the first chicane. On exit, getting on the curbs a bit, but it's okay. It's not too bad getting on the curbs around that part of the track as we head into the halfway through the first sector, the tight, twisty part of this track. We're in 6th gear. I found 6th gear to be the most comfortable, and as we're going through the double left-hander there, we do lose the back end, and it does send us wide. So I've lost a lot of time there, and we've gone wide again on the exit of the intersection, is how I'm going to call it. So we have lost a bit of time there, and obviously we were midway between both the Red Bulls, and now we've got Perez right behind us. So this lap is as good as gone, realistically. But as we're going through the middle of the second sector here, we go and hit this apex on the right, left quite nicely, but the left, it's got on the power a bit too early and sent us flying. Onto our second lap in Quali 1 now, braking down into 4th gear to hit this first part of the track. As you can see in the top right, we were a 1/10.5 down, but on exit we got a much quicker exit. We actually gained 3/10 overall there, so it's a lot better in terms of compared to the very first lap. And as we're going through this double left-hander, we're going to lose it? No, we managed to keep it on the track quite happily, and we lift off a bit to get through this part of the track. Having to lift off a lot through that intersection because I just did not feel very confident at all, and I always felt that the car was going to spin. As you can see, top right, 2.7, almost 2.8, 2.8, 2.9 now, almost. Yeah, here we go, 2.9 on the time that we had set previously. Into the fast right left-hander here, can we hit the apex? Miss that first apex, but we kind of mess up the second part, but we don't get too eager on the power. We actually do just accelerate. We're looking to set a lap time here that's respectable, not trying to go for the full out max lap here. Let's go into the fast left-hander here. We do keep it within the track limits there, which is quite nice. On the soft tyres, now all it is just a straight line from here all the way to the final corner, hitting up to about 203 miles an hour as we hit the braking point down into 5th gear at the hairpin. And on exit, it's quite easy to lose it on exit there, but thankfully we managed to keep it in a straight line, and up to the line is a 1:32.7. It's okay. I've done quicker than that. I think I did a quicker lap than that in practice, but I was quite happy with that for a banker time to put me in. I think that was P12 or P13, one of the two. As we're coming out, we've got to the end of qualifying here with 1:50 to go. There's a lot of traffic on exits, you've got to be wary of that and not get in anyone's way. As we're coming out of the pit lane here, we've got, I think this is Ocon down our inside. We managed to find a nice little gap in between Ocon and I believe it's Verstappen behind us. So we don't want to hold up Verstappen too much, but as we're going through the start of intersection, our DRS has decided to fail, and that's really ruined our, it's actually Perez behind it, but that's absolutely ruined our last chance to be able to get a better qualifying time. As you can see, already after the first straight, already losing time as we're going into the intersection, getting a bit of damage on our front wing, and that means our lap is as good as done there. We're going to just limp it back to the pits and see if we've got through. We were in 12th. Where did we finish? P15, very nice. We managed to get through into the second qualifying. I'm quite happy with that. Vettel getting a +5 position and Oscar Piastri finishing in P20. Vettel getting a 5 position penalty for illegally blocking. I don't know when that was. It wasn't on me, I don't believe. So it'll be interesting. So he's going to be starting from the back of the grid tomorrow. Oscar's going to be starting from P19. And now we're going to go and head into second qualifying, going on to the first lap here. We're going to go 100-meter boards, braking down into 4th gear. On exit here, we do have Sonoda, so we've got to be we're going to hope that he moves out of our way fairly quickly. We don't want to catch him during this intersection part because we can lose a lot of time here. As we hit this first part, we're getting right up his rear end, and this is not good. He's getting right in our way here, and we really would have wanted to go a bit wider there, but he's compromised us, made us go narrow. So we've lost time here completely on this first sector. In that first sector, we've lost probably about a second there that we could probably gain back quite easily. As we come to the line of 33.7, it's a whole second slower than what our first lap was. As we're coming up to the final corner here at the end of the session, we're looking to start our lap and get a good exit here. Starting going down the 5th. On exit, we're trying to get the power down, put the power down, and as we put the power down, lose the back end.
Are you okay? That was a nasty hit. Turn the engine off and wait for the marshals.
And we hit the wall. And we're out of qualifying for Jeddah. We're going to start in P16 for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. You can see I'm not happy with myself at all. The confidence I have in the car is very, very low right now. I'm very tentative on the throttle, and every time I go too much on the throttle, the car just wants to spin. It wants to send you into a full 180, 360 spin.
So here we are then, welcoming you today to one of the jewels of the Arab world. Jeddah, one of the biggest cities in Saudi Arabia, second only to Riyadh, gateway to Mecca. One of the biggest ports in the region, and now host to the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. So let's take a look at a topographical map of the Jeddah Street Circuit. As you can see, a number of challenging corners for the drivers to master here. We'll see just how much the teams have benefited from their time spent in practice this weekend. And like many street circuits, this track has the potential to punish drivers that get it wrong. Let's hope we avoid any safety cars today. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Russell, Sir Lewis Hamilton, and Fernando Alonso, Ocon, Bottas, Perez, and Lando Norris, Tsunoda, Magnussen, Pierre Gasly, and Mick Schumacher, Ricciardo, Anderson, Guan Yu Zhou, and Alex Albon, Oscar Piastri, Stroll, Latifi, and Sebastian Vettel starts from the back of the grid. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
So, the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. It's a one-stop race. There's no rain. We're going to reduce the fuel a bit, but not as much as we did last time, because last time we reduced it and we ended up using too much fuel, and we were under-fueled for a bit. So we're going to leave it to about 25.8 laps of fuel. Go and change the strategy, put it onto personalize, and we're able to do a soft-medium strategy. So we're going to go and change it to the mediums, go on the mediums first and the softs last. And I think it changes between 17, 18, lap 17, laps 18. If I have a look properly here, no, 16, 17 actually. So yeah, we're going to go on to lap 17, and hopefully we can have a nice strong end to this race. As you can see, going on to formation lap here, warming up the tyres, getting the tyres warm. Hopefully this time we don't ruin our formation, our position on the grid, and we actually hit it for at least green and not red. I've got to keep on going until less than a metre in order for me to get a good position here on the grid. So as we're coming up, we're trying to warm up the tyres a bit more, keep them warm, as you can see, warming up the rear tyres so that on exit we're alright. As we're going up to our grid slot here, you can see it's going slowly down, slower. Are we going to hit it? We do. 1.1 metres. Yeah, I was quite happy with that. Got angled our car more central as well, so that we can cover off anyone who gets a better start than us behind. And if we can tack people into the first turn. So 5 red lights. And away we go for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. We get a better start than Ricciardo. We get a better start than Schumacher. Schumacher's gone to the inside, and Schumacher actually gets away with us in the second part of the acceleration phase. We lunge it down the inside, almost crashed into Norris there. Actually, we do crash into Norris, almost crash out because of going into Norris there. But thankfully, we've not lost any of our front wing and not lost a wheel. And as we're going into the middle part of the first sector, we've moved up quite a few positions back into P12, probably where we should have started in theory. But anyway, as you can see up ahead, looks like Bottas was going side by side with Ocon there and managed to get ahead of Ocon. And now coming out of the first sector, Tsunoda behind us, who blocked us in qualifying, and Norris ahead is going side by side with Magnussen. Norris looking quite feisty here at the start of this race. Goes side by side with Magnussen. Tsunoda is 4 tenths behind, we're going to be wary of him. Magnussen got back ahead of Norris here, but we've got a bit wider to the fast right left, and Tsunoda's all over the back of us now. As we look behind us, he's well within striking distance. 2 tenths, we've got to put on our overtake because we've also got no slipstream in front, which having to defend for our lives here. Thankfully, Sonoda is not able to capitalise on that mistake, and we're able to get through quite nicely. We go quite nicely through that fast left-hander there. Sonoda's still right in our slipstream here. We almost smashed into the wall. I mean, we wanted to go check and see if we got any damage, but it would have popped up, so we don't have any. Into the last corner, we brake quite nicely. We're trying to close up the gap to Norris here. We are within the 1 second window. Obviously, DRS is not open until lap 3. And we kind of have to go defensive into turn 1 here. Sonoda right in our slipstream at the start-finish straight. We brake a bit later than him. He's round our outside, but he actually backs out of it. We give him room on the inside, but we actually got a bare exit there. And all that fighting has allowed Norris and Magnussen to kind of get away a bit more, but they're getting held up by Perez and Ocon, I think, up ahead. And we've got to really use this to our advantage and capitalise and get right back into their slipstream, so we can have some form of help and defence to Sonoda and Schumacher behind us. We go a bit wide on the exit of the intersection at the end of sector 1, and Sonoda goes to the outside. We cover the inside move into this long hairpin, go a bit deep, and Sonoda could potentially go over the switchback. On exit, we lose the back end, try to correct it and smash into the wall, end up losing an end plate on our front wing there, and that's really going to hamper us for the rest of this race. I think at this point I was deciding whether to go in for hards to the end of the race, or to just maintain pit for softs and just keep on going and don't worry about the damage to the front wing, because I think I did a lot of driving with damaged front wing in practice, probably because I was spinning a lot, and I actually felt quite confident with no wing, so I was more than happy to carry on. And I think pitting for softs towards the end was going to be the stronger strategy. As we are going through the fast right left-hander there, we go a bit wide on exit, and that means that while we still have DRS, we don't have the slipstream really. And Schumacher's coming right up our chuff with DRS open on this lap. Go a bit wide on that fast left-hander there, and Schumacher's going to be all over us going up to the final corner. And I think at this point, with us having a broken front wing, I'm not really going to defend. If he wants to go for the overtake on the inside, he can. I'm going to just brake up where I think I need to brake. 100 less than 100 metres, yeah, 80 metres, perfect. Down to 5th gear, round the outside. We've actually got the DRS for this next straight, and we're going to hopefully sail right past Schumacher here. Actually, the speed of the Haas is actually keeping him right up with me. We get almost a full car length ahead, but in the braking zone, he lunges it up the inside, keeps it tight on the inside of the first corner. We go swooping around the outside and get the inside for the second part of the chicane, and keep ahead going into the first sector. Now we've got to try and focus on catching up to Sonoda, Norris, Magnussen as well up ahead, because they really are the ones that we can attack here. As we skip forward a lap, we have gained quite a lot. We gained probably about half a second on Sonoda here. We're going to be in the DRS range of the AlphaTauri car going on to the back straight, as long as we can negotiate this fast right left-hander well. We kind of do. We missed the first apex, but we actually do hit the nailed the second apex. Have to lift off the throttle because the back end was just about to slide out. But we're using a lot of overtake here just to bring us further forward towards Sonoda. We've gapped Gasly and Schumacher behind us. Don't quite hit the apex, but keep within track limits. Almost going over the curve. Could have lost the car completely there. Still in the DRS range here, and as you can see up ahead, Norris is really attacking at Magnussen here. He actually almost goes for a move, but I think Magnussen might have locked himself up and got a bit deep, but now Norris and Magnussen go side by side, and if they could go fighting into turn 1 here, that could really slow down the lot of them, and they could bring them right back into our clutches. So we're just going to remain calm and vigilant here going into turn 1. As you can see, side by side, Norris and Magnussen, but then Sonoda just, I don't know if that was Sonoda or Magnussen, one of them just decided to brake, which caused the other to brake, and then I ended up going into the rear of them and causing more damage to my front wing. So if my race wasn't already hampered enough, it got hampered even more from that incident. But thankfully we're able to keep with them in this first sector. Go a bit wide on the exit there, but we still managed to keep quite a decent gap between us and Sonoda. through this long left-hander. We've got to try and make sure that we can get the power down nicely. We actually do, and we actually do gain quite a bit of time through that left-hander as well. There's a big old queue up ahead. I think there's a Williams, or I think that might actually be Perez up ahead with Ocon, Hamilton, Norris, Magnussen and Tsunoda. It's a big queue up to about 7th, I think it is. And we actually are getting a run on Tsunoda here, down into the fast left-hander. We go down his inside, we go to brake, and unfortunately we just lose our braking point a bit and just go right into the side of Tsunoda. We both lose time. And on exit, I don't know if that was nice work. I know it brought me up a race, but I wouldn't have said it's nice work. I wasn't happy with that. So as we're going into the hairpin here, I lift off just to let Tsunoda get a nice run so that we can both get a nice run through this hairpin. I actually go a bit deeper than him. That's alright. We've got a nice exit in 5th gear. We've got the DRS here. We're going to use a bit of overtake to get past him and try and get ahead of him before the braking zone so that we don't have to worry about him lunging it down our inside into the chicane. But as you can see up ahead, Norris getting really feisty. He's got right up Hamilton's inside, and now Magnussen's go all over the back of Hamilton. It's almost as if like it's actually F1 22, the 22 season. Magnussen and Hamilton side by side, always fighting. But we're going to enter the fray here, hopefully, if we can keep it together for this lap. As you can see, going through this first sector, we go a bit wide, extend a little bit. That would have been normally a warning. I'd say there's a warning in my book. But we actually managed to really attack up to the back of Hamilton and Magnussen here. They're going side by side through this part of the track, and I don't know who's going to come out on top. Hamilton's got now the inside for the fast right-hander, but Magnussen's got the inside for the left-hander. So now Magnussen's ahead of Hamilton, and we're all over the back of Hamilton here. We got a lot of overspeed with the slipstream and the DRS. We could potentially go for a move down the inside, but after that instant with Tsunoda, we're going to back off. And we're going to go a bit wide on exit, go over the curb and spin ourselves round, unfortunately. And Tsunoda actually gets a bit screwed over there. He was right up our chuffs and then got blocked. And as we're reversing back, we wreck our rear wing. As we go in front, a massive explosion happens in front of us. And I think Zhou Guanyu got caught up in the mix of that. We're going to have to look at that after the race. And the safety cars come out, and we got a strategy change to go onto the hards now until the end of the race, which also means that we can fix our front wing. But in the midst of all that, we did get big damage to our rear wing, and I'm kind of dubious as to how that's going to affect the car's handling capabilities through the corners, particularly on this circuit, which is really difficult to handle. It's going to need good handling in order to do well around here. And I think I should have probably come in the next lap, considering Oscar was coming in this lap. We get a purple for the immersive pit stop, so that's going to give us a good time. But that 5-second penalty we get for crashing into Zhou Guanyu there is it's really going to hurt not just us, but also our teammate behind us. Changing the front wing, taking absolute 7.5 seconds in the pit lane. And actually, it's not too bad of a stop for a 5-second pit stop plus a front wing change. But on the exit, on the hard tyres, losing the back end completely. But we've got to maintain our delta speeds. As you can see, safety car here, it's obvious that whoever's leading has not caught up with them yet. But as we're heading towards the fast left-hander here, we've got to remember the rear wing is not at its best, and as we go into the left-hander, the back end just steps out completely. And we go and try and do a 360 there, but the wall was in the way, so I couldn't quite do it, and I didn't want to smash my wing once more. And as you can see, the remaining reversing 3-point turn that takes about 20 points has meant that we're now back in last place. So not an ideal safety car period for me right now. This race has not gone as well as I would have hoped. As we're going down now into the final turn, we take it quite normally, what we'd normally do, our normal line. As we're going round, the car just doesn't seem to want to stick. And at this point, I'm getting quite physically angry at myself and the game. And as going through this left-hander, I just go through it normally, and the back end wants to step out. And at this point, I'm like, well, I don't think I should be racing. I think I should have lost my wheel or something in the crash. And as we're going, and go over to the wall here and try to go and hit ourselves up, but the game is just like, you know what? No. I don't think I will, actually. And it doesn't want to lose its wheel at all, so we go and do another 50-point turn. Try and break the wheels, but there's no chance that the wheels are coming off the car now like this. So we're going to have to move on, try and find another wall as we go around that corner, barely in third, fourth gear, and
Wow, that was
going into the wall.
Impact. Let me know you're okay.
Gone into the wall there, broken our rear wheel, and that's the end of our race. This was definitely one of the most trickiest races I've done in a long, long time.
So as they climb out of the car, the Red Bull team are ready and waiting to celebrate a thoroughly deserved win. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
Red Bull are. So let's review the drivers' standings. It was not the best weekend for our championship leader, and their advantage at the top has been reduced. So let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for your driver of the day?
Well, you can't fault anything that Sergio Perez did out on the track today. He drove flawlessly, making him an easy pick.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Ferrari continue to extend the gap at the top of the table. Meanwhile, a strong weekend from Red Bull this time out, and they improved their position in the championship. Well, that certainly was an exciting weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for more exciting Formula One action very soon.
As you can see, Oscar finishing in 18th and us DNFing, but we're going to go and have a look quickly at the incident at the end of the race there. Let's have a look and see what happens. So we go over the curb and the back end just wants to step out completely. Tsunoda again screwed over completely. Gasly and I think that is Schumacher go around the outside of us both. I reversed into the wall, and as I come back on, I just total 90 the Alfa Romeo. As you can see from Guanyu Zhou's point of view here, I'm just come out absolutely nowhere, and there's nothing he can do about it. The only stipulation I would have is that Zhou did pass several double yellows and didn't really slow down, so he could have avoided it if he'd actually slowed down a lot more. But I then, from this angle, you can just see I've just gone straight into him. So from my point of view, while he could have slowed down, that was completely my fault, and I think it's just that I go and don't score any points from this race at least. Puts Oscar Piastri in P17, me in P21. Constructor standing, we've gone down to 10th place in the constructors, and that's going to do it for this episode of My Team Career Mode. If you have enjoyed this episode, please leave a like. That would be greatly appreciated. Really boost the video if you leave any likes on videos and stuff like that. Also, if you want to hit the subscribe button, that would be greatly appreciated, so you're notified when I next upload one of these episodes, or if I upload a Gran Turismo video or any other racing video in the future. But yeah, thank you very much, guys. I appreciate you all. This has been a very tough race. We now have Australia, and I think that will probably suit my driving style hopefully a bit better, and fingers crossed we don't crash out in any of the sessions in Australia. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all for another video soon. Peace out.